So this is going to be a body language analysis of Brian Harpo, who is the head of security, or was the head of security of Charlie Kirk when he was assassinated. This is an interview with Sean Ryan. This has been requested here on my channel quite a lot, and the interview is really gaining traction as of the recording of this video. It has more than 1 million views. I'm keeping an eye on that counter right now. And this one is going to be a bit different in terms of length when it comes to my usual body language analysis, because I'm going to take my time with this one. We'll make sure to divide it in chapters so you can watch it chapter separately. But you can imagine at 3 hours, this interview is massive and there is a lot of to cover, including where any connections to MOSSAD. People are asking about that. If Charlie actually wanted to be at that spot for that day for the debate, the description of all about the bullet and the exit wound, the talking about Tyler Robinson as well. That clip is worth it. It's one of the best of the interview, in my opinion. A lot of inconsistencies that we need to talk about, and of course Erika Kirk. All of that and more I'm going to cover in here. So let's begin right now. Let's start from the beginning. This is I'm going to play the clips. I'm going to play some clips at double speed because they're so long, and that is well, some of them are worth watching in slow motion, just a few of them, but most of it I'm going to be playing at double the speed. At first, Sean does an introduction. I'm going to just scrub. Sometimes I go as far as just scrub over this stuff. This is just so wild. I've heard that it was a right wing, not a left wing, not Israel, a trans person's boyfriend. I mean, Sean is doing at the start, very start of the interview, the usual. She is trying to set this up as in, okay, we're gonna set the record straight on what you, in this case Brian knows, okay, about this. But he doesn't discard any of these venues or conspiracies. In fact, I think that he got some things wrong, and we are going to get there in a minute. At the time that we're completing arguments for every single one of those avenues, well, I don't know. Some of those were really crazy, but okay. But there's a lot of people that don't believe that this Tyler Robinson kid is the shooter, that he is not the shooter. Well,
the stuff as we go on, and then at the end, I want to ask what questions you have, you know, from somebody that was being there and somebody that.
Okay, so Sean was a dad. Beginning the first clip that I saw, I'm going to. Okay, I marked this one. I have all this clip marked with colors to understand. This is the like first 20 minutes of the interview in which he's talking about his background. I wanted to include this one, certain part of this, just to establish his body language baseline. What is his usual body language when he's talking about something that is very familiar to him and is not stressing? He's talking about his story. He's laying back in that chair. The chair is quite comfy. I see that. You see how is his posture, his legs apart, hands on his knees, his neck is relaxed, his head is tilted to one side. No big deal here. I'm going to just play that very short clip.
No, and 20 of it has to be internally, and 20 of it has to be can be externally. Most of the guys, I did the averages, and I sent in our training logs, and we keep them electronically so that they can see that they're time date stamped with what we did.
You notice in this establishing his body language baseline, there's also a frequency to his words. There's also a voice tone. There's one way that his head moves, the way that he uses his hands as support for his words. He looks quite relaxed. This is like his usual way of speaking when he is not nervous, which would be handy in the very near future when we see when he gets nervous on some topics. There's the first question. I think the first question was about MOSSAD. Are you or any of your guys tied to MOSSAD?
Do any of your guys have any ties to any foreign intelligence agencies, more specifically MOSSAD?
No, I've seen that and heard that, and I've been in 39 countries in this world, and I've never been to Israel.
Okay, this start with the problems here. Again, I don't want to judge anybody. I want to be fair, but first of all, you saw his usual body language baseline when he is talking. He sometimes looks down, but for the most part, he keeps his eyes up, and especially his chin up. He sometimes could be looking down. You could be sometimes looking down, yes, but I'm looking down, but my chin is up. But when I turn my head down, that is different. That's two different things. Turning my eyes down, turning my chin down, two different things. And when he answers the question, yeah, I saw many people asking me, why does he look down this way? It's not only his eyes, like in this moment, he's answering the MOSSAD thing, and he turns both his eyes and both his head downwards. You're gonna repeat that.
Agencies, more specifically MOSSAD.
No, I've seen that and heard that, and
in fact, it's I'm pretty sure that some of you pointed or spotted that when he says no, he does kind of a nod. Notice his head, how it's going to move. I'm going to zoom in so you spot. Here it goes.
No,
No, it's like his head bounces in a nod. I mean, I am not saying that he's lying, but the problem is that he knows that this is one of the most contentious topics that are being talked about out there, right? If not one of the top three theorists out there. He knows that. He says later on that he detests conspiracy theories, that he's not a conspiracy theorist, that he wants the truth, but at the same time, he knows that people are going to be very interested in his words. And this is right at the beginning of the interview after many minutes of, being relaxed, just talking about his experience. So the way that he answers here and his behavior when he answers this critical question does not help. Does not help. I am not saying that he's MOSSAD. I am not saying that he is guilty of anything, but this is the kind of things that you have to be very careful. You know, when the question comes, you have to look into the eyes of the interviewers. No, and that's it. And again, he can say, I can understand that people want the truth and they are exploring all the possibilities, but no, we don't have anything to do with MOSSAD. And the fact that he says, I've never been to Israel, you know that you can be wire transfers payments. You don't have to, if somebody hires you from Germany, for example, you don't have to go to Germany, or your German clients don't have to go to where you are. They can wire a payment. So that is maybe a non-argument. That is a very lousy argument to support that you're not MOSSAD.
Specifically MOSSAD.
No, I've seen that and heard that, and I've been in 39 countries in this world, and I've never been to Israel.
He continues his answer about this.
I'm a firm Christian. I ask our guys, are you believers? We have no ties to Israel or MOSSAD or any other one. We're Americans.
Okay, you might have noticed. I have the like a kind of a vantage point that I don't know. Maybe I can show you here. I can do kind of an experiment. I want to show you something here. Okay, I'm gonna go to the moment in which he is speaking. I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know if you can show you. I see the frequencies of his voice, and I see the volume of his voice in terms of frequencies. And it's easy to see. You see, I'm going to point here with my cursor. This is him, this area, which is like kind of lime green or turquoise. I always forget how to pronounce that. You see that this is his body language baseline and his voice baseline. And here is when he is answering that he or his team is not MOSSAD. It's obvious. You can see visually that there is a drop in in voice volume, and you can feel it. I'm gonna play one part of him talking about himself.
Most of the guys, I did the averages and I sent in our training logs.
That is the volume. You're talking about normal stuff, and this is when talking about MOSSAD.
I'm a firm Christian. I ask our guys, are you believers?
You notice that his voice tone dramatically dropped when he was talking about that. Why? Why wouldn't you, if you are sure of what you're saying and you know that the question is important, why would you answer with this voice? This is the kind of things that I don't make the rules, but that this makes you look suspicious.
We have no ties to Israel or MOSSAD or any other one. We're Americans.
He's almost whispering. It's like an ASMR thing, and he's also stuttering a bit.
Period. We believe in what we're afforded to do here. We believe in our system, and to say that we're MOSSAD or attached to any type of foreign entity, it's one of those, it's crap on its best day.
All right, we have another. Let's move on with the next part. Here, Sean makes an introduction.
Gonna find any answers. We've seen a lot of Charlie's friends, people that are in the media, come out and say Charlie had very specific concerns about Israel.
Okay, he makes the point that I made a video about that. I remember that was one of my earliest videos that people wanted to kind of gather all the clips in which you remember that clip. Of course, I played that like 3 times in this channel with Megyn Kelly, in which he wanted just to ask questions and have an opinion about Israel and how Israel was doing stuff, because he said that in Charlie Kirk's own words, I want Israel to win. He said that, but he was frustrated on how, well, he couldn't ask questions, or there's donors just were threatened to leave if he kept asking those questions. So this is part of an interesting answer now.
We look at all that, and you can go back and look at his speeches, and Charlie was an absolute supporter of Israel.
Okay, Charlie was an absolute supporter of Israel. In many instances, he said expressly he loved Israel. He wanted Israel to win. Okay, but there were those other moments that he had questions. Does Brian address those questions?
And then he would say, and they would ask him why. And then so, we're in those things, and we're listening, but at the same time you're looking, but you hear these things and you hear them over. And I can remember him saying, he was a supporter of it because, one, a nation should be able to defend itself after they've been.
Notice that he has said for a second time that Charlie Kirk is a supporter of Israel. That is important.
2, Charlie was a devout Christian to the point that he gave his life for it. And he referenced this, and I heard him reference it, where those places that are our holy land are being taken away from us and not being able to visit, and that you can't go there. And so that protection of Israel was important to him.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk actually said that, but I'm going to play the rest of this answer at double speed.
In those holy sites, and he'd been there. And so he had talked about being there and how it changed his life. And so that's why those sites in that area was important for him to protect. Now, how you can derive Israeli hitmen out of that, I have no idea.
This is the problem. How can you derive Israel hitmen out of that? I have no idea. Of course, we have not an idea, but you remember that Charlie Kirk was on the Patrick Bet-David podcast asking very uncomfortable questions about October 7. And he literally asked the question if there was a stand-down order that day on Israel's side. It was a very strong question. There was, as many people are saying right now, he was just asking questions because, well, it was strange. And at the same time, he was asking questions when he was talking with Megyn Kelly. But that's what I'm saying. There were at least 4 or 5. I remember that interview with Ben Shapiro at the same time. We should have the right to ask questions about Israel. Did you remember that Ben Shapiro's eyebrows just flare up? It almost did a whole 180 over his head. How can this guy forget that this happened? He should have acknowledged that I can understand because Charlie's stance on Israel was of support, but he was also asking questions. But he didn't say that. In this interview, he wanted to portray Charlie as he was 100% pro-Israel, which I think for all the things that Charlie said when he was alive, well, he was completely pro-Israel, but he had questions. And those questions, you can imagine that would be uncomfortable for some people. And so it's like, oh, I don't know, how can you make a connection like that? Well, another thing would have been saying, I can understand how people are crafting those connections, but that is so flimsy because it was a nuanced questions that Charlie Kirk was asking about Israel. It's that simple. But no, this guy is black or white. Charlie was 100%. 100%. It's like Megyn Kelly's 100% sure that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. All right?
But we have never received anything from the FBI, which they were pretty good about sharing information, Secret Service, because of, the Charlie Circle. And we had never received anything from anybody that was credible that was saying that groups of that entity was a threat to him. We received other threats all the time.
Okay, which were all those other threats. But now we're gonna talk about the texts. Let's talk about the texts that he showed on screen. These texts were pretty much of a nothing burger to me, but let's watch them.
This correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back, he says, do you want access to the roof? And came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible.
Okay, just so you understand, this text, the roof that they're talking about is not the roof where the shooter was. This is the roof who was directly at the back of Charlie. Okay, this was Charlie. He was having his debate, and there was this roof, and you see that there's a footage that I showed here on the Battle Language Guy channel of was a cordon area in which that area was right on top of Charlie. My guess of why are they talking about an area that has nothing to do with the shooter is that this guy, Brian, wants to kind of begin setting up the, let's say that we did all that we could. We sent texts back. We were worried about the roof that was right on top of Charlie. Because that's what I said. Okay, that roof right behind Charlie was not the problem in the end. In what it was adequately covered, but many other things, including the thing that we are going to see in a couple minutes, that was the fatal mistake. So what I think that Brian's trying to do here is that, I want to show this text. I want to talk about this. I want to prove that I was talking to law enforcement. I want to prove that I was doing my job. This is basically, I want to clear up my name. Not only that I was not responsible, but I am still a professional. And yeah, it's like 40 minutes of this interview is talking about his professional background. That was really boring. Nobody cares about that. Everybody. Nobody cares. Brian, nobody cares how the sausages are made. We only care about the end product. And in this case, the end product was defective. Charlie Kirk died. That's all that matters. I know that you wanted to say and to sell the idea that you and your guys have all the experience in the world, and I'm pretty sure you and your guys have all the experience in the world, but people are not here to listen to that. Not for 40 minutes, believe me. So this is just a kind of a like setting up. Oh yeah, we were sharing these concerns about the areas of where Charlie was going to talk and stuff. But that is going to be that is going to be laughable in just a couple minutes. But let's continue.
What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, "I've got this area."
Notice the attitude. I was playing this at double speed, but this is when this is like 20 minutes later down the line after showing the texts. He is oh no, what am I supposed to do? Notice how he shrugs. He shrugs like, what am I supposed to do? Let's play it.
What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, "I've got this area."
No, notice how he is nervous, how he rubs his hands when he says that. I'm gonna play that again and focus on his hands.
Person from an accredited police department says, "I've got this area."
He begins rubbing his hands because he's nervous, because he knows that it doesn't matter if the other people were in charge and said, "I'm going to handle this." He was still responsible for Charlie, and he knows it.
Jeez. Have you been in who is that?
That was the chief of police for the UVU police department. We've called him. He's never called us back.
Holy shit. Does he have a name?
Chief Long.
Chief Long.
And I didn't know if it said deputy in that or not, because in the correspond or in his stuff on the website it says Deputy Chief Long, but we just called him Chief Long. So.
Okay, again, he rubs his hands, and just for the records, I think that we're not going to see here, but because, again, this is 3 hours long, he makes sure so people understand that he had like 12 guys for security. I just had 12 guys. I think the 12 is the number that he gives for Sean. We have 12 guys to do all this. All right. If you have all the experience, this is another thing that he makes sure to talk about all the experience and how professional he is and how professional are the 12 guys that were with him. If you knew that that was insufficient, why did you green light the event? If you knew that something could go wrong, and this is going to be even worse when he shows us the picture of what was right in front of Charlie. But let's keep watching this.
So it's like, yeah, I got guys that are 10 times more qualified than what he could have produced for us probably.
Again, his guys were 10 times more qualified than whatever this donut-eating police officer could provide.
So literally all they had to do is post anybody at that stairwell.
Stairwell,
Or
roof.
put a drone up. Or
let us.
Notice the kind of gestures that he does. He does this two-hand gesture on chest, as in, if it would have been up to us, we'd have done everything. But he knew that there was a weak spot precisely in that rooftop right in front of Charlie. And you're going to see a picture. He shows a picture and he says that himself. That's the thing that I don't understand. But let's, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I cannot help but point out the gestures that he does with both hands on his chest, and how he raises his eyebrows, he opens his eyes and saying that there's nothing more that I could have done. I had the best man and I had my hands tied to my back. Again, none of that matters. what matters, Brian, is the end result, because you're the one responsible for it. And some people, it's not I, it's so many people, the vast majority of comments, both in Sean Ryan's video and on X, say at no point he has apologized or said that he's sorry for what happened. He's trying. This is basically a crisis management, a crisis reputation management. Oh, he wants to keep his job. He wants to keep his reputation. Everybody is gonna point at him. Okay, were you involved, or are you this unprofessional? And he wants to kind of wash away both things.
Let you do your job.
Or let us. You know, our team is built.
So he continues afterwards.
People in the security industry, you know, you have this thing called the concentric circle security theory, right? It doesn't have to be a circle, it could be a line or a moving box or however you want to work it. And you have zones. And you have a permeable zone, a semi-permeable zone, and a non-permeable zone. And so you can come in on the fly and set up these zones. And so we come in, we set this up. So Charlie's tent was on that right in the middle, and then we start. So you want to start at the very back. And so we started with a non-permeable zone, but it was one of those ones where it's mainly visual. It's just tape across this arrival section.
Okay, this is technical but interesting at the same time. But at the same time, again, it's like a salad dressing on a salad that is musty and left to rot, because none of this technical stuff, all this technical stuff that he's talking about, is basically covering up his own performance, which, well, we know what happened in the end.
I'll address the shooter in the timeline first. It's like, you know what I want to know? I want to know when he got on the roof.
This is important. This is one of the first times when he talks about Tyler Robinson. I want to know when he got on the roof. Why? Because he knows the exact point from which the shot came from. He knows that. He's going to show it a picture. He's going to show that picture, and he is angry at something that makes no sense. Watch this.
Mm-hmm. Because we're shooters.
We are shooters. He just said that.
Where it's easy because we have a range, and our guys do it as a sense of pride. Even though we know we work on all this other stuff more, the shooting we work on because it's a sense of pride. And then, so you look at things like that. In that shooting position, 3 meters to the right and 10 meters to the left, there was no shot.
Okay, so this is the part that concerns me the most.
And so I want to know when that guy got on the roof.
Let's put the visual of what that looks like on the screen right now.
So I'm gonna do the description, because this is the photo that they shot right before Charlie got on stage, or minutes before Charlie got on stage, when everything was set up, and so Charlie could see what he was going to face. That's what they did every single time in this event, so Charlie could see what was right in front of him. And you can see in the picture itself, I want you to really pay attention to this, and I'm going to zoom in on the picture, because they even, of course, marked the spot in which Tyler Robinson was. It was right here. You see it? X marks the spot. You go right back, and you see it right here. Now, this is my question, and this is the single most important question of all this analysis and of all the interview of Sean Ryan to this guy, Brian, forgot his last name, but whatever. If you are so professional, if your guys are 10 times any law enforcement officer, if you are this Delta Force, Chuck Norris level team, how come you took this picture, you saw this evident threat spot right in front of Charlie, and you didn't do anything about that? You did not, you just assumed that other people were going to take care of what was obviously the best vantage point for a shot, being all of you shooters, being all you John Rambo's. That's the thing that I don't understand. I mean, I am not saying that I am an expert sniper, because I'm not, and so many of you already know that. So many of you have more experience shooting than me. But what I do is to pinpoint inconsistencies. You spend 40 minutes of this interview saying how of a professional, what level of professional you are, how you pick your team, how your team is this, I don't know, zero dark 30. You can't take Osama bin Laden from, I don't know, from anywhere in the world, and you miss this spot from the photo that you yourself took, you approved, and you sent Charlie, and Charlie says, yeah, let's do this, because I guess that Charlie assumed, because I guess that it's not Charlie's job to be aware of the security, because that's why he has a chief of security and a security team behind this. Okay, I guess that my security team dealt with this, because that's why you delegate stuff. So this is the thing that I don't understand from this Brian guy. Brian Harple is his last name. I don't understand, and I could never understand. That is a huge contradiction on what he is claiming, what he says that he does. And again, he's trying to clear up his name. That's what this interview so far has been about.
We took that shot before.
Really?
We always do.
We're going to include the
We
captions.
sit down in the space and we take the shot and send it back to Charlie so that he can see what he's going to see.
Notice that he's doing that and he's covering his mouth. He is like kind of terrified. He has a kind of a terrified face. He's speaking, he's covering his mouth. How interesting, because he knows, it is obvious, the contradictions. He's scratching his neck, he's covering his mouth, because he is terrified of people asking, or Sean himself asking the obvious question. If you're so good at this, if you saw that vantage point right in front of Charlie, why didn't you, and you had no way of confirming that there were people of other enforcement agency or of UVU security or anybody, and you know that was a clean shot spot, why didn't you do anything? That's why he has this behavior. Ah, my God. I love my job, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's a routine thing that we do.
That's a routine thing that we do.
He didn't get up there like the secondary guy that tried to shoot.
Okay, that's when he begins to talk about the theories. This is when he begins to talk about the theories of what happened with Tyler Robinson when he took that shot.
He didn't get up there like the secondary guy that tried to shoot Trump, where he was bugged down in the weeds for a while. This was a boom on, boom run two, boom take the shot. And it's like, did you get all that off
I mean,
Google?
it had to have been rehearsed to find that, which I believe you said is basically did you say 7 foot vantage point basically had?
That's the thing that I also asked on my videos, because that is one concern. Apparently, Tyler Robinson was twice that day at UVU. The first one was scouting. I find, I mean, the preparation, that guy must have studied UVU from, Google Maps or something in advance to figure out, okay, maybe they're going to do the event in here, because they could have done the event inside. There's another thing. There's a topic for another video in which they could have done that event in the amphitheater inside. Would have been way safer. Apparently, it was Charlie the one, quote unquote. You can correct me in the comments, because I really don't know. Apparently, it was Charlie the one who wanted it outside. But of course, the challenges of having it outside were more dangerous. It's like it had more risks. But it so happens that since they were building all this stage outside, then this guy, Tyler Robinson, could have had the opportunity to just go around campus, notice where they were just building the tent and everything, and then find that spot. Okay, that takes I don't know if say luck to find that spot, and especially to be able to reach that spot the first time and reach that spot the second time with his rifle on his leg. Again, if he did all that by himself, going twice to UVU, scouting the area, knowing the exact place where Charlie's tent was going to be, spotting that vantage point, that 7x7 foot vantage point, very precise vantage point, and then going afterwards with a rifle hiding on his leg, on his pant, and taking that shot and running away, jumping without disassembling the rifle. That is important. We're gonna talk about that. Okay, yeah, we need to take a look at that timeline, because again, we're talking about some kind of a genius, especially of how tight. You saw the picture. How tight was the spot? And I go back to that picture just in case you noticed. How tight was the spot to be able to see, to have that area in which Charlie was going to be, have that angle set up correctly. It takes it takes luck to find a spot so good and be able to go to that spot twice, and one of those having a gun with you.
Did you get all that off?
I mean, it had to have been rehearsed to find that, which I believe you said is basically did you say 7 foot vantage point basically had?
Oh, I'd have to.
It's small. Whatever.
It's small.
It's small.
Not big.
There's the visual. Who gives a fuck? It's a small area.
It's not something. And then
You would have to search for that. You would have to
That is stupid. Yeah, of course you have to search for that.
search for that vantage point if you didn't know. So it would be great to see the footage. Maybe it's out there of him running straight to the point, or did he search around looking
exactly
for
what
it?
I want to know.
He couldn't have found that point on first try, and there's already footage of him going to UVU in different clothes that day to scout the area.
Do we have?
It'd be great if that chief of police would have put that fucking drone up.
We'd have had it, or I'd have flown that drone up his ass if we could have had one. So those are questions I have. Those are tactical questions. I mean, we make our guys do that kind of stuff all the time.
Our guys do that kind of stuff all the time. Again, he doesn't know what to say. Okay, your guys know their shit, or they don't know their shit. Pick a lane.
Yep, no, you're going to run 300 yards. You're going to jump over this wall. You're going to come home and you're going to take this shot with ours is about a 35-foot declination at 200 yards. And you see guys that are even trained. We knew there were no drones, but then somebody earlier that day flew a drone up.
That's another thing that he claims that they couldn't fly a drone because they didn't get permission. But then they saw somebody who got a small drone. I saw a small like a hobby drone earlier that day without a problem. So again, maybe this is part of the narrative. Okay, we had our hands tied. We couldn't fly any drones. Then how come that person could fly the drone? That person got apprehended or something?
Correct.
Yeah.
So actually, you probably wouldn't have confirmed because there are drones up.
We didn't know where it came from, and we're like, what's the deal with this? Now, it's not uncommon for the video team to throw a drone up and then take a quick shot, and we've had that before. Now, their drones are different because they use those little bitty ones.
Maybe a little bitty one would have been useful anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not covered under the requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, again, yeah, you're right. We
that single shoulder shrug. Oh, you're right. We mess up. Here it goes.
Yeah, you're right. We
We what, Brian?
Do I need to call a grown-ass man and say, hey, are you doing your job?
This is hands down the thing that buried him in this interview. He wanted to do a 3-hour interview to clear up his name, but this sentence just destroyed everything that he had been building up to this point. I don't know, I think it was 1 hour and 20 minutes in or something like that. Do I need to call a grown-ass man and say, hey, are you doing your job? No, because if life has taught me something, it's like Jocko Willink says, extreme, absolute ownership. You know what your job is. You have to own the responsibility and you have to own the outcome. You are complaining that should I tell people how to do their job? No, you have to make sure that the job is done, whether it's the donut eating police officer or is your Chuck Norris level SEAL team, Delta Force 2, 3, or whatever. That's the thing. So this is pathetic. I have to say, this is pathetic. I wouldn't want to be in this guy's shoes, but I think that what he wanted to do with this interview was a mistake. But he was essentially trying to clear up his name, make sure that people still know that he's a professional, that he did the best he could. But every part of this interview up to this sentence, which is the worst one, nobody cares how the sausage is done. We only care about the results. Complaining is the most unmanly thing that you can ever do. Oh, I shouldn't have had to call this guy. You should have. You are saying that. Do I need to call a grown-ass man and say that you're doing your job? Yes. Are you afraid of upsetting him? Are you afraid of upsetting a man with, I don't know, too many texts, too many calls to confirm things, double-check stuff? Have you heard, I don't know, David Goggins be obsessive? Tony Robbins be obsessive? If you're not obsessive, you're not gonna make it. I say that as well. And it's obvious you're not an obsessive man, Brian. And complaining makes it all the worse. I mean, I guess I'm doing a body language analysis here, but I'm also venting because this is outrageous. The way that he spoke about this. Do I really need to do this? Yes. This looks like the question a 17-year-old apprentice would ask. Yeah, you have to make sure because you're the one in charge.
Do I need to call a grown-ass man and say, hey, are you doing your job? Do I need to do that?
Yes.
You shouldn't.
No, he should. This is the thing why people were complaining about Sean. He said, you shouldn't. No, he absolutely should. He absolutely should. I mean, he was really, really going soft with this interview.
And, this is, it's...
No, we don't know it. We don't know what you're talking about, Brian. There's another section here. I'm going to play this at double speed to see what happens.
There's a lot of chatter on the internet about hand and arm signals, from the security team. There's been concern.
Okay, there's this long explanation. I'm going to skip this long explanation about the hand signals that people were talking about, that Frank Durek was signaling with his cap. The other people was signaling with his shoulder. He's basically saying that there were essentially no hand signals. They were trying to communicate to each other with the usual, with the noise, etc. But he's basically dismissing the hand signals. I'm going to skip this one because I honestly don't think. I think this was filler for the interview because, again, some people are pointing out something that makes a lot of sense. How could you be doing hand signals if you were in the conspiracy and you were right next to Charlie? Like, what if the bullet hits you instead, being right next to Charlie? I'm gonna skip this one because I know that I would have marked this as interesting or something. Let me see this other section. Which one is?
Man, I'm I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I do believe that there are things out there bigger than you and I that are in operations. It's a fact. I also am a huge believer in the First Amendment. And so these people that are out there saying all this, back up, why is the First Amendment so important? Because back in the day when our founding fathers said, men.
Okay, he's essentially talking about the First Amendment, how people have their right to say the things that and the conspiracy theories and what people are saying on social media, but at the same time, he wants people to, let's say, take advantage of the First Amendment and go for it. But at the same time, he doesn't want he doesn't like what people are saying on social media. And it's like let's just put a bunch of lies up there and claim First Amendment. I'm not gonna defend anyone with this one. But if you're absolutely entitled to put pretty much, if as long as you're not afraid of the fallout or the possible lawsuits or the consequences of the things that you could say online on a YouTube channel or X, but you can say pretty much anything. If it is too outrageous and people don't pay attention to you, well, that's on you. If there are people who have the ability to seduce masses with their words, that's on them as well. That's something that you don't want control. That's what the First Amendment is about. So, okay, you can complain all you want, but at the same time, in the same video, this is a mess. He criticizes how the FBI and the three-letter agencies have been so murky about so many stuff. He even talks about the Epstein files not released. Again, this is a bit of a contradiction, a hypocritical contradiction. I like the First Amendment, but I don't like people putting out lies out there. Well, people have the right to destroy their own reputation if they want. That's for sure. That's essentially protected by the First Amendment as well. If you want to say that Charlie Kirk was killed by Jack Black, you can absolutely say that. Well, good luck when Jack Black sues you, or aliens, or I don't know, but you can say that. I think that's not the actual problem. The actual problem is all the murky stuff, all the things that pop up weeks after the fact, all the ways that the FBI has handled not only this case, but so many other stuff. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too.
And claim First Amendment, and we can say whatever we want. It's like, when's that stop? And literally whatever you want. You've seen some of the idiocy out there. Palm gun, exploding microphone.
Oh, right, yeah, the palm guns, exploding microphone. I debunked the palm gun here in this channel. I didn't even made a video about the exploding microphone because that was the most moronic and retarded thing that I had ever seen. So I didn't even deem it necessary of a video. If you needed a video to debunk the exploding microphone, you need to seek help. You need help.
Hand signals. It's like, it doesn't even have to be true, and it doesn't matter.
But I would say that the possibility that Jack Black killed Charlie Kirk is higher than the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed by exploding microphone. No offense, Jack Black, if you're watching this video. So this is like his recollection of the events. This is when he gets a bit emotional about the whole thing.
I remember I heard the gunfire, and then I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that bullet slap him. And so so you hear two sounds actually. And so you hear the actual shot, and then you hear the bullet hit him in the neck, like you hear it. And so in my head, I had an attribution to that.
Question, is that those bullets are supersonic or not? Just asking questions here. I always have this thing that you hear the shot, and until maybe sometimes the shot can arrive before the actual sound of the shot of the bullet being shot. So you might hear the slap before the shot. Again, I am not an expert in ballistics, but maybe my physics background makes me think in these terms. Maybe you can help me with that one in the comments.
And so in my head, I had an attribution to that. Oop, I know what that is. And so I turned, and when I turned, started running, that's when Dan grabbed him. And I mean, this is a live fire event. It's not, everybody thinks in hindsight, well, this is a one-shot assassination. No, in our heads, there's
You
fire.
don't know what that is.
There's fire. There's more to come, right? And so Dan grabs Charlie, and then
Who's Dan?
Dan was the guy standing right next to Charlie when he got shot on the stage, and then I was to the right of Dan.
I'm gonna play this at double speed.
Okay. And so he grabs him, and then I turn and see him start to the ground. But then I'm just thinking gunfire, and then he's leading to the ground because I'm on his right. Well, he was shot right here in the left of his neck. And so I jump down on top of Charlie to cover him, because where we're at, it's concealment at best. It's a tabling with cloth on it, so it's not hard cover. Our guys will start piling back in, and they're down, putting a human shield around him, but it's still just...
Notice that he is talking about the actual event, the event that we all saw in so many angles from so many cameras, and he is speaking really confident. He is not like in that answer about MOSSAD. He's looking at Sean. He is keeping his voice tone steady.
Concealment. It's not cover. And so I initially dove down on top of him and just was on him almost face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him up close. It was still coming out enough that it squirted through my fingers, and I could taste it on my lips. And so I was like, man, this is a bad wound, right? And so I was just pushing that, and I don't know at that time. I know when you look at the clock, I was on him within 5 seconds. I had my hands in him. And then I don't know when I put the first piece of medical on him. It was sometime after that, because I carry it right here. That's why you carry it on you. You gotta have it there. So, but then I remember pulling back away and thinking, damn, this is bad. Like, it's coming out.
So he keeps recollecting this. Let me see that. This is the moment that he actually breaks. I'm gonna fast forward to this moment.
To the time we were picking him up and headed.
15 to 16 seconds.
That's what it was, yeah. And so...
That's fast.
Yeah, and this is horrible, but...
That is fast to get an initial assessment, plug a hole, pick them up, move them.
Yeah, and so it's just like, dang. And it's some horrible realities of it, too, that, like, I told the guys this, and I haven't... When I jumped down on him, he had doll's eyes. And so I was like, man, these are wounds incompatible with life.
You know.
Yeah.
You want to take a break? Let's take a break.
Okay, of all the moments that I've seen this guy speaking, this is the moment that I would say that I believe that he was actually really moved by remembering the experience. I see muscles in his face that I hadn't seen contact him before. I see his eyebrows turning upwards and not that bit inwards, but yeah, he has actual pain. The only other option is that the guy is an amazing actor, which I don't think so. If he was an amazing actor, he would have answered that MOSSAD question way better than this. But I think that he was actually touched by remembering effectively. It would have been traumatic to see that gush of blood and Charlie's dull eyes. Again, so many of you are asking the question, oh, wait a second, but if he was dead on the spot, then how they got a pulse on at the hospital. I think that we're gonna find out more about that with the trial when everything comes out. But apparently that's what happened. That they managed to get a pulse just from I don't know, a parasympathetic reaction of the nervous system of Charlie. But that's how they got it. This is when he stands up. He wants a second or two. They do an intermission. Again, I see his face. I'm gonna, before we go away to the next section, I see his face, and I don't know. This is the moment I can get behind his recollection of the instant Charlie Kirk was shot and what he felt at that moment. I can say that this is legit. That is kind of, again, my opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion in the comments. He has said a lot of nonsense about the circumstances because he wants to save his own skin or his professional skin, but his reaction to the actual shooting of Charlie Kirk is legit, in my opinion. So let's move forward. This next section, which is about the lack of autopsy. They were talking. I'm gonna scrub this one. They're talking about the lack of autopsy. There is definitely an autopsy. Again, you can see the interview. They talk about this. There was an autopsy. That's when they found the trajectory of the bullet that they're gonna talk about in here. Let me see. Okay. They talk about this guy recording this video. They don't elaborate on this guy recording this video. He says that, well, some people react in different ways. That he's a bit nervous talking about that as well, touching his face again. They talk about the SD cards they were the SD cards that were in the cameras taken out like 2 minutes, 5 minutes before, after Charlie Kirk was shot. Those were not deleted. Those were handed immediately to the FBI when the FBI arrived, of course. They say all this. I'm going to skip all this because I think that, okay, we are in preparation for, perhaps I think this is the best part that comes. Let me see what they're talking about here. Institution hiding things. They're talking about the FBI, the Epstein files. Here.
I don't know. Release the Epstein files.
Release the Epstein files. It's understandable. It's understandable. And I have said that. We have doubts. We have doubts about what is going on. Is everything so murky? We have to believe, quote unquote, what the FBI says. You stop effing hiding stuff from the American people. You want to show everything. Let me see. We can skip all this. Let's see. Let me play this one.
You're not going to request that, or you shouldn't request that overnight and have that done. That had to probably go through a budget request, had to be approved. There should be a timeline and paperwork for that. Mm-hmm. You should be able to get that through FOIA. And so do it. Make them tell us why, if they tore that up before it was even cold. I want to know. Because it came back on us. That we had some trapdoor and they're covering up the trapdoor and we had a guy hiding in there.
Okay, that's actually my next question. I didn't hear about there was somebody hiding in the trapdoor.
Gun was hiding or
Or
something.
there was a trapdoor or something. Was there a trapdoor in the tunnel system?
No.
There was not.
No. So, school, why'd you tear it up? Why did you tear it up? What was the exigency to tear up something that still people would, did you not think that through? Like, hey, we might want to put a hold on that. This might induce questions to us. Mm-hmm. And it didn't. Nobody went back and asked questions to the school or said, hey, well, let's do it for you and do some backdigging on that. It's not protected under this evidentiary gag order. Mm-hmm. Now let's just blame the security team because that's the easy way. We'll do it for you.
Yeah, because the security team is the one directly responsible for that. Again, you want to put in the school with the trapdoor and the removal of the evidence. All of that is fine. Those are legitimate questions, but who was in charge? That is a question. I marked this clip. This clip is important. I have it marked for one reason. Back to the exit wound thing. Let's talk about the exit wound.
back to the exit wound thing. You know, I mean, because we're talking about the tearing up of the crime scene and everybody's wanting them to find the bullet. I mean, if the bullet hit any bone at all, there is no bullet. It's just fragmentation.
Great point.
And
that was discussed already.
if there was no exit wound in the autopsy though, there should be. I mean, if there was no exit wound, then there should be fragmentation of the bullet would have fragmented it into.
At that moment, when they're talking about the autopsy, just an observation. Brian says sitting quite comfortably. He changes the cross of his legs. Just an observation.
The bullet would have fragmented it into.
And he points his chair more in the direction of Sean.
Who knows how many pieces?
The doctor, and again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told Chief of Staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra. So it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way, I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, why not put that info out?
Yeah, if we are listening to this right now, and basically that was my theory from the beginning, since, yeah, it was obvious that was an entry wound. There was no exit wound because there was no blood spatter behind Charlie. We knew all this. I told you the only way that I can think about this, and people are asking, okay, you have a 30-06 bullet. There are many kinds. Could be a faulty round. How does that work? I think that we're going to find out at the trial. I'm pretty sure that my comments are going to be full of that. How do you still believe that? Well, because that is the only explanation. Of course, I didn't like when they said, "Oh, it's that Charlie had Superman bones." My God, that's just, God's sake, no. It's like we have to go by the laws of physics, and I can understand that many of you are skeptical that a bullet, that a round, a 30-06, right? Is the pronunciation? Did I get that right? Couldn't have just bounced off a vertebra, and could have been slowed down, but most likely would have penetrated that vertebra. I understand that, but again, in ballistics, I don't have that much experience shooting, but in ballistics, we know that rounds can be quite unpredictable. Yeah, that is like winning a very strange lottery, but it's a possibility as well. So we will have to wait until the trial is out. But I know that so many of you will still not be convinced to whatever evidence is in the trial, because you might think that it has been tampered with. And again, I don't blame you.
Why not put it out? And then
why wouldn't they put that out?
And if do me a favor, don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6, and then fragged. And so explanation 101. What are you hiding?
No, it's like, it's not an explanation 101, because if you have your Delta Force guys would also say that in 90%, 95% of times, this is not what's going to happen with a round of that size at that distance. So again, let's see what is this next part here. I'm going to jump into the next part they're talking about.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know who this kid is.
Oh, this is when they began talking about Tyler Robinson himself. This is interesting. I like this part.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know who this kid is. I don't want to know that he was had something that feeds a narrative of hate and division. That he was his boyfriend was trans or whatever, and that they had text back and forth. I want to know. It's like, all right, where did he work? And then who were his coworkers, and did they interview his coworkers? And then I want to see his phone logs and the towers that it hit. I want to interview his friends, and did he have any help?
Yeah, he essentially wants to divert any attention from himself to Tyler Robinson. That would be really convenient for him.
They said, oh, well, we have DNA on the rifle, and I want all that information. That's a good tie, right? Now,
he begins to talk about the judicial standpoint. And this is one of the moments that I say that I was more upset about this. I said that on my X account. They were talking about the disassembling of the rifle. And I see many people have a lot of problem understanding that at no point there's no official source that has stated that the rifle was disassembled after the shot. The rifle was disassembled when Tyler Robinson apparently took that to the roof of when he took the shot, but he did not disassemble the rifle. And we analyzed that footage here on the Battle Language Guy. We saw that frame by frame. I noticed he dropped to the ground from the rooftop. He was carrying a black towel, and the black towel was wrapped around something that was roughly the size of an assembled rifle, and the rifle was found assembled by the FBI. So I don't know. It's just because they found a screwdriver, they assume that, oh, he disassembled it means that he disassembled the rifle. No, at no point in all cases, the only person who could say that the rifle was or was not disassembled is Tyler Robinson himself, if he was the one who took the shot, if he was the one on that rooftop. But otherwise, there's no way that you can tell that.
Aren't they saying that he took the rifle apart with a flathead screwdriver?
That's a big one I want to know. And it's like, I know there's footage out there, and I don't know what to believe and how it got down. It's like, all right, how did I want to know that. How did the rifle get from the roof to where they found it?
Because Robinson had it with his hand. How is this guy who knows that all this narrative, it's basically his reputation depends of all the narrative out there, does not know the details of the case? That's something that I don't understand.
That's a big one. How did the rifle get from the shooting position all the way back across to where they found it?
And then it was...
Again, this is like asking these questions to deflect attention from himself to another thing. Tyler Robinson, I don't know, furries, transgender people, or the rifle, assemble, disassemble. We need to ask these questions. Let's ask questions about Jack Black as well. And Erika Kirk. They talk about Erika Kirk in this one. And I want you to pay attention to this clip.
And I look at a lot of things that are going on at Turning Point, and because I saw, man, I've seen people say that Erika was involved in it, his wife. I've done a lot of death notifications where I had to tell kids that their parents were dead or their parents that their kids were dead, and I know what pain looks and sounds like. I wake up screaming sometimes, thinking of kids' faces.
That expression was genuine. That expression was legit. Now zoom in so you see it for yourself.
Screaming sometimes, thinking of kids' faces. The words that came out of her mouth.
Erika's mouth.
And how they came out. When she walked in that room and saw him, you don't want to hear that. She's a victim. That's her husband. And now people without any proof are saying that she was a part of killing him. Come on, man. And then not having anything to substantiate it with. That's what makes me lose faith in people, and that we allow it.
I think that he's really, really upset about this. He's really mad and sad and conflicted about this.
And the platforms allow it. It's like it goes against everything that we are. And if we're going to allow that, what else are we going to allow?
Well, I think that he was telling the truth in the way that Erika reacted to, well, the event that would have been horrifying. I mean, this has been literally the longest analysis that I've made. I think that we have covered a lot. I think that this guy was essentially trying to cover for himself. He was trying to do damage control for his reputation and his what happened that day. My understanding is that Paramount Tactical is interviewing him for his this weekend. I'm gonna keep an eye on that interview as well. I'm pretty sure that they were going to talk about ballistics as well. But I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? Remember to like and subscribe. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Battle Language Guy. Much love and bliss.